want to talk about how apologetics, or understanding how to present the faith in a postmodern context, actually helps us overcome fear. Now, you're probably wondering, what does it have to do with fear? I'm not afraid. Well, stick with me for a minute. I'm going to make the case that fear is actually at the heart of under-contextualization and over-contextualization. I didn't come up with this. Actually, I learned this years ago from William Edgar, or Bill Edgar, and I don't even remember where I read it, but it was something that stuck with me and has been so helpful. He makes the case that fear is at the heart of tribalism. One of the reasons we pull back from the culture isn't always for theological or biblical reasons. In other words, the Bible asks us to do it, and we're responding obediently in that direction. One of the reasons we do it is because we're fearful. We're afraid of the world out there. We're afraid our faith can't stand up in the world out there. We're afraid that we don't have the reasons. We can't, if someone asks us what the reason for the hope that is in us, we won't be able to tell them. And if we get in a debate or a dialogue with them and they push and they ask a question that we can't answer, we'll be embarrassed. We won't know what to say. We'll get red in the face, and it might even discourage us so much that we think about giving up our own faith. So instead of doing that, we kind of protect our self-image and our confidence by staying away from the world in a tribalistic setting. And then we under-contextualize the gospel. So that's that kind of the visual where we stay behind our walled fence, our walls, and we lob gospel bombs over into the culture, hoping that somebody will be converted by them. But so often, it's fear that keeps us from doing that. And when we study apologetics, or we go through a course like this, we begin to gain confidence because we realize, first of all, we begin to understand what the people we are sharing our faith and our lives with, what makes them tick. And the more we understand what makes them tick, the less we're fearful of them. We gain confidence by realizing I don't need to be afraid of that because I know that the gospel actually is the answer for all of these things. And so we have more confidence to go out into the world, into the culture, and contextualize the gospel and share the gospel, share our lives, and be involved in what's going on in God's world. So if fear is at the heart of tribalism, studies like this are going to help break down that fear, give us a lot more confidence in the message that we have, a lot more confidence in Christianity, that it has the answers for the world's questions.
In this screencast video, I will show you how to use the Psalms Explorer interactive media. After introducing these features, we will search for the theme of fear in the Psalms. Finally, we will pick a couple of verses to add to a custom reading plan. In the previous lecture, Dr. Belcher introduced the idea that fear undermines much of our apologetics. The Bible speaks a lot about fear and teaches that God is our comfort. In particular, the Psalms contain helpful expressions for relying on God when we are fearful. I want to show you how to explore the Psalms by using interactive media, and then how you can dive deeper. Okay, let's get started. First, let's open up the Psalms Explorer from the Tools menu. As you can see, the Psalms are divided into 7 genres: praise, lament, royal, wisdom, thanksgiving, hymn, and trust. On the left-hand side, we can see other categories that the Psalms are broken down into: genre, attribution, book, tags, and themes. Attribution categorizes the Psalms by whom it is said to have written it. The Psalms are traditionally broken into 5 different books. The themes allow you to find specific themes for each of the Psalms. If you hover over one of the Psalms in the middle, it will display this information for this specific Psalm. You can also change the view and category by clicking the blue text by genre in the upper right. Well, we wanted to explore the theme of fear in our study. If you go to the left, you can click on More and scroll down until you see Fear. Notice now that we have about 11 different bubbles here identifying different psalms. We can see that there are several under the lament genre and less in the wisdom and praise genres. If we want to see the specific verses within each psalm, we can click at the top, so it will list the psalms with their verse references. Once we do this, notice that Logos also gives us a title for each psalm. If we click on Psalm 27, we see that David says that God is the light of his salvation and the stronghold of his life. In our apologetic endeavors, we should remember that God has saved us, and he is the stronghold of our salvation, and we have nothing to fear when giving a defense of the faith. Now we want to create a custom reading plan. In order to do this, click Documents at the top, then click Reading Plan. Drag the reading plan over so we can see our verses and our reading plan window at the same time. Click Custom Reading Plan. Rename our reading plan to Fear Reading Plan. Next, we can add a passage to read today by clicking Type in a reference. Type Psalm 27. Now we can click Add a Session in order to add a day to our reading plan. Notice that it now says Add a reading session for tomorrow. Click Type in a reference and type Psalm 14. You can keep doing this for all the verses you would like to add. Go ahead and close this window. You can get back to the reading plan by clicking Documents and then choosing your reading plan. In conclusion, we do not need to fear in our apologetics. If we do fear when defending the faith, we should ask God for guidance. One of the great ways to do this is to pray through the Psalms. In this screencast, we introduced and explained part of the Psalms Explorer and how to dig deeper by exploring the theme of faith. Lastly, we manually created a custom reading list for a couple of psalms to pray through during the week.